give me a heads up when you guys are heading towards the field so I can start spamming the search button on this Cabal TV. So yeah, we've got a farm game, the Morning Stars versus Wrecking Crew, and the Norse Leap versus Princes going on. So I might actually try and pull up a couple of these Twitches and give updates during this.
If the Crew win, I think they guarantee their playoff spot at that point.
They do.
They
do.
Yeah, they're pretty high in the rankings already. Norse Leap till Brookens, they're quite high too, so they might actually lock theirs up.
They beat the Human Beings last week, so that put them in like first place, didn't it?
It did, so but the Human Beings could.
Both of those are.
Yeah, it could be
close
tight.
To locking with the win.
Okay. It seems like things really tightened up this season. Like.
I think we've got a little bit more parity in the league where, teams are a little bit closer. We don't have as many weak teams in the league. There's no easy week off or any of that kind of stuff.
Oh, anymore. I beg to differ. Rez is about to play one.
Easy week off?
No, I'm saying you're about to get one.
You're about to play one. No, you're about to play. Yeah, that's right.
You just the race to the bottom is real.
Oh, sorry, I was in the team screen. I didn't realize you sent it. There we go. All right.
Well, now I hit circle to go to next, right? That's the win button.
That sounds like a great plan. Listen, I know the guy who runs the league. It'll be fine, okay?
Yeah, I hear he's pretty sexy.
That's his number one trait.
But he plays orcs, and it's just a real shame. He could really enjoy his time playing Blood Bowl, and instead he decides to play orcs.
That's why I do it. I think if I enjoyed this too much, I might actually spend time at it.
More time, because we already pretty much all spend every night here.
You took a bribe?
Bribe and a babe.
Interesting.
No
wizard for me.
I mean Igor.
I really thought about it, especially against the killer grunts.
They're not killer. They've killed less people than anybody.
I watched. You did not for lack of effort.
I beg to differ. I've done a lot of not killing in my day. For being the killer chaos team, I've done a whole lot of not killing.
There is not for lack of effort. I saw a team last week that just had no interest in playing the ball and just tried to destroy another team and get themselves a players ejected record.
There's a ball in this?
I have to admit, I'd go for the players ejected record too.
We're here to make a zombie and to score some touchdowns.
I mean, at some point, I had to just go for the record to get something out of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you see that within grasp, you kind of got to go for it at that point.
The pass by Iggy was great, though. The pass from Iggy early in the game was excellent, though. That had no right to work, just like the throw from Leroy last season, just like every throw from Leroy.
Come on, Leroy had a little bit of talent there. He was the slowest orc on the planet.
He was an overachiever, I'll put it that way.
Well, look at this. There appears to be a game I can watch. Oh,
I don't know if I call it a game. It's probably going to be more like a snuff film.
It's not.
Well, there's awful lot of regeneration on one side and an awful lot of anger on the other side.
Not on the
pent-up rage.
Exactly. There's a team just trying to take out their rage and frustrations on another team. Look at those eyes. There's a whole lot of rage and just pain in those eyes. That's what it is to be an orc.
Oh, I almost want to pull up the lyrics to that. I can't remember what the heck the song is. These eyes cry every night for you.
That's preaching Leroy.
Right.
I feel the same about Flippy. I really miss him.
What amazes me is that by and large, a majority of people still think that Leroy was killed in the game and not by me.
In Caven's newest article,
I know.
He talks about it. Yeah, it was great. It's the same thing that happened to Billy that led to Coach Don Eagle being stuck with his lizard team for 3 more seasons. The mercy killing, quote unquote, of Billy.
Look, these are the reasons why the apothecary union gets a bad rep, is because coaches are out there using the apothecaries to clean their hands of killing players.
I don't care about the apothecary anymore. I've sworn them off for quite a while at least. The necromancer seems much more reliable. He has never failed to resurrect a corpse from the opposing team, not once.
It would be interesting if you could actually do it for your own team, though. Now that's a magic trick no one's looked at.
I mean, when two undead teams get together, the only thing you can actually turn into a zombie then is ghouls.
And that's just sad.
It really is.
And that's going to be an issue with the necros coming in. It's going to be an even greater issue because they only have 2 ghouls.
Yeah, necro. I'm looking forward to playing some necro. I don't have any intention. Ooh,
wonderful.
Lasso. Yeah.
We don't need turns.
Right. We want to forget whatever I was saying. Forget whatever I was saying. We're about to start getting clobbered by Slim Pickens and his buddies.
No, Slim is
not this term. Slim Pickens is gonna go real stupid. He's setting the pace of the game already. Uncle Jesse is not tolerating that behavior.
Oh, and it looks like just uncalled for.
The creeping mummy behind is going to keep Uncle Jesse from the follow-up, though. Sexti the Duster, or Sextus the Duster, taking the hit. My Scrammy Flammy Mammy is going to get pushed back with no real issues. Leaving Scrotal Blade, the other zombie.
One of the Sexti is in the running for biggest punching bag, but I can't remember which one. I don't discriminate between the Sexti.
Classic.
Well, Sexti Bone Collector taking a little bit of a defensive approach. He's back further than we're used to, and it looks like he's gonna receive the blitz here. And successful Mighty Blow blitz on the Sexti. The AV7 taking damage this time. No armor break though. We have Coach Seston screaming to kill the undead. I'm not sure if he's aware of that. They're already dead. It's really they don't mind being killed. It's old news for them. So the orcs taking a bit of an aggressive approach on the right hand side here. We'll see if the left hand side advances also and tries to pinch in the undead. The guard block black orc in place, and then another guard piece, the guard block lineman coming in also, pinching in the white, trying to give him a little bit extra support. And then we have the tackle frenzy, mighty blow, pylon block blitzer coming in support on that other side. So it appears that they're not showing too much concern with the undead coming into the backfield. Instead, flooding the wings with players going for a rather aggressive approach here. And then the new Goblin Star, his coming out party, Iggy Max, his coming out party last week in a harrowing effort where he threw an extremely beautiful pass to advance the orcs up the field. Did not bear fruit in a touchdown, but it did bear fruit from a particular high elf thrower that sent him a basket.
Boy, was he excited about that! Boy, was he excited.
But Iggy trying to compound his star status and possibly grow his reputation a bit more. So looks like the undead are showing quite a bit of respect to the left-hand side of this offensive formation. Sending a mummy over there. It's a block, guard, stand firm mummy. So well-developed mummies here in the mummy factory, as one might expect from the mummy factory. They have nothing but the finest mummies, and their mummies are known across the league as being the area where you get your block mummy. We do see a blodge mummy here in the running there, and I believe that is not Eddie. The block mummy is Eddie, so don't get them mixed up. They're a little bit touchy about people getting their names wrong. We're going to see our first block of this turn. Have not seen a blitz yet. Player to keep an eye on is Slippy 2. That is a 4-strength Wrestle Frenzy Ghoul. So a player that can be quite a bit of an issue. And now we're going to start seeing the ghouls get into motion. With that dodge, not a lot of tackle on the Orc team. Looks like 3 tackle pieces at a quick scan. Mostly being the blitzers. They do have a little bit more mobility, so it's a good choice to put it on here. And we're going to see our blitz now. We're seeing I believe that's Slippy 2 with the push, and that will pin. And the frenzy is going to surf the lineman, so that's going to be a guard piece injured. Morkgob injured at this point. Would be surprised to see a apothecary used on him. Not badly hurt, just a bit of a scratch. Badly hurt, won't have any lasting injuries, and should be back in the next game. So that will probably put a pretty good button on this turn for the undead. They may make a couple little moves here, but they've really given a lot of respect to the orcs up the field, and
Slippy's first blitz with Frenzy worked beautifully.
Frenzy's one of those skills where when it works out great, you love it. When it works out horribly, your player gets smashed by red dice by some guy, hiding behind the target. It's one of those where after a coach gets used to it, it can be a extremely useful tool in their pocket, but does have to be used with a little bit of caution sometimes. Speaking of caution, the Trundle the Ghoul is in a cautious territory now. Some of the line of scrimmage guys noticed him slip through and are coming back to help protect Iggy Max. Black Orcs doing a little bit of work, but the placement of the mummies is keeping them from following up and tagging some of these players. So it will be interesting to see if this continues. And again, I don't think we're going to see a follow-up with the Black Orc. Mummies keeping them in position. No, they are going to follow up this time. It looks like they've selected not Eddie as a possible blitz target at this point. So they do have an extra orc on him, but it's going to be difficult to clear off Gustav with the mummy sitting there with guard. So this. Well, we're going to get a reroll on the far side with the 1 block dice is successful. That is going to free up the blitzer in the back there. Is a frenzy blitzer, but and he's going to come back. The blitz will be used on Trundlin. First attempt not successful. Goes with the both down. Does not allow the frenzy. Both down will stop a frenzy. A push, a pow will end it because of it being successful, but a push or a defender stumbles will continue it. So the defender stumbles on that one would not continue it because it would be successful because the player has tackle. So now we're going to see an attack on Gustav the Anatomist, and that should button up the turn. Iggy Max, the last player to move. Be interesting to see if he moves forward, if he's going to continue to stall in the backfield a bit. We have seen that he's not afraid to throw. One of the finest throws that a high elf thrower has ever seen came just last game in his opening match. Looks like he's going to scamper off to the right sideline. Looks to be fairly safe. The only high mobility pieces that the undead do have are the ghouls. They do have a natural 7 movement, I believe, and he looks to be clear of them. So looks like it's safe for him to hide on the sideline for now. So scanning the field, it looks like they only brought 2 of their 3 ghouls onto the field at this time. So trying to protect the younger ghoul. They did not field him. On defense, they chose to field 2 ghouls, 2 mummies, 2 whites, and then the rest are a mishmash of skeletons and zombies. Speaking of skeletons, we're seeing a little bit of a reposition on here, trying to pin in the to pin in the Frenzy Tackle Mighty Blow Blitzer. And again, we're seeing the zombie making a move over there. So looks like the undead is using a little bit of their mobility, trying to reposition some. The orcs are scattered about a bit in about 4 cells of players, and then Iggy Max in the back right with the ball all by himself. Definitely not a formation where they're looking to cage or anything like that. They're playing a little bit more of a loose and open formation, and part of that may actually be because they don't have a high mobility team against them. As long as they can keep the ghouls in check and accounted for, it's fairly safe to be out in the open. The skeletons just have 5 movement, and then we're gonna get a blitz here by the ghoul. So Trundlin does escape his 3 pursuers and gets an unsuccessful blitz on the dirty player kick. I believe it's a lineman there. Yeah, kick, dirty player, block, lineman. So that'll end the undead turn. Swinging things back to the orcs. They're going to reposition upfield again. And this is one of those where it does not seem like they're very interested in the cage. They find that in loose formations and that they have a little bit more freedom to really get in and get their attacks. So we do see a mummy on the left with the stand firm block guard. Mummy on the right is the blodge mummy with guard. And yeah, the mummy factory definitely has these highly developed mummies that really cause issues, because without loner or any of the other negative traits of most big guys, they have the ability to stand up every turn. They have the ability to block and move without eating up a lot of rerolls. So it really does afford the undead a little bit more ability to run with less rerolls. So we're going to see a pylon on the mummy. So we'll see if they can an unsuccessful break on the armor. The mummy will stand back up next turn, but sitting next to him is the dirty player lineman. So this attack might not be over. With the blitz used, the pylon used, he may not be out of the woods just yet. Block Troll Slim Pickens in effect, able to take down the zombie Scrotal Blade, which was acquired on a death of the opponent two games ago. We do see the foul; it's unsuccessful. Awful difficult to break these mummies' armor. They do have that AV9, but a solid attempt by the dirty player. Oh, and it looks like we've had a successful armor break on Gustav the Anatomist. So that will be a down player, and the regeneration will fail, so he will stay out. That's going to put the undead team, the Mummy Factory, down to 11 players. So we will see that third ghoul come back out on the next kickoff. So we have a few coaches. One's taking the side of the orcs, and looks like Spawn is going for the side of the mummies. So we have a split crowd in the audience so far. And we'll see what the rebuttal will be of the undead. Looks like they're gonna bring a ghoul up, trundling back up into this backfield, putting pressure on the ball again. This is gonna make it interesting for Iggy Max on this next move. Trundling where he's at, if he's able to shake free, will cover pretty much anywhere where Iggy Max can currently hide. So looks like we're getting a little bit of team effort with the mummy and my Scrammy Flammy Mammy, the first zombie that was ever created in the MML, and the first zombie in the MML also. Looks like we're going to get a follow-up attack by Slippy. Slippy is going to wrestle the player down. So using that wrestle ability, We're going to see a couple more blocks get laid out here. The white coming in on the black orc. And then the foreman left to make his move. Foreman's a very well-known player for this team. Their strong arm, AG plus, quarterback, definitive part of this team. This is a player that's much like the throwers on High Elves teams, where they're a key piece to the offense. So you'll see him do quite a bit of ball handling once the Mummy Factory gets the kick coming back their way. Speaking of coming back their way, Sextus the Bone Collector, I should say. I will often refer to the different Sextus as Sexti. They actually have two skeletons with the first name Sextus, so they are affectionately known as the Sextis.
Well, that's the way they prefer it, really, shots. I mean, they work as a pair.
Yeah, which is actually best, because then one can help pick up the other one, lend them a hand if they need. Sometimes literally, sometimes you'll see one of them carrying around another hand, slapping players and such. It's quite a comical event sometimes. And we're gonna get another down and another pylon. It looks like the New Orcland Grunts are focusing in on a mummy and really trying to even the odds. If they can get one of these mummies off the field, it'll really help them in the long run. I know that I've played against an undead team in the pros recently, and the mummies are an absolute nightmare because of their lack of negative traits, really. So they can walk up on a group of your players and really lock them in, especially with that guard ability. So the Grunts definitely putting in a concerted effort. Iggy Max looking for a safe place to run. Fairly safe where he's at. It would be great if he could find just one more step of movement, but he's kind of sandwiched between the foreman and Trundlin. So this is one of those situations where it's difficult for him to really get to a safe location. They build 3/4 of a cage around him, and that's going to be the best that they can do at this time. So there is a bit of a gap on the backside. The foreman's still playing deep safety. And we get the final piece of the cage. So Iggy Max finally, and they're going to do a little bit more dancing here. So the Orc Blitzer showing off his AG3, getting a successful dodge out and move up the field a bit. Gonna create a little bit more pressure upfield. Wouldn't be surprised if the foreman and put a little bit of coverage on him. But Iggy has successfully gotten his way upfield and into a cage. The Grunts taking their time building the cage, wanting to set the pace for hitting first, really get some damage out. They took one injury, not a major injury, and they also laid out an injury also to Gustav. So Gustav failed his regeneration, and that is going to put both teams down to 11 players at this point. Although, yeah, I believe that puts them at 11 apiece. No, yeah, that's got to be 11 apiece then, because I believe the Grunts have rebounded back up to 11 players now. And we're gonna get a mummy blitz on a cage corner here. And he's going for the blitzer, a successful attack. We'll see what direction he throws the blitzer off towards. Gonna throw him back in the opposite direction. That is gonna put a blodge mummy with guard on the ball. Now that is a stunty dodge Iggy Max, who has 1 SPP from that magnificent pass that he threw last week. He can simply dodge away. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. And it looks like they're going to put more pressure on this cage. Standing up players on the front half. Mummy pressing up on the back corner, and then looks to be Scrotal Blade and Sexti the Duster over in the corner. And then we're going to get Trundling putting in more pressure on this cage. So the undead putting full pressure on this cage, not allowing them any free movement. This will definitely put a little bit of cramp in Iggy's style. But with this first block, a little surprised there wasn't a follow-up. So it looks like they're trying to free up a little bit of room for Iggy to move. Either that, or possibly they're looking to reposition this cage a little bit. Elbow some room for the cage to be reset up. But right now, still quite a bit of pressure. The Grunts do have 2 re-rolls, so if anything should go sideways, they do have options with that. The Black Orcs doing a good job of laying their blocks and downing players. I do see a couple of stray skeleton bones on this pitch. I think that the undead team might want to check their players to make sure that they have all their appendages. It appears to be a forearm with a hand attached to it. Kind of laying in the middle of the cage. I think the Sexti might want to do a parts count real quick here, because this is not a good look for them. Continued blocks. There's still 2 tackle zones inside that cage, but it does look like Iggy could remove over a bit, willing the dodge. But yeah, this is so far a pretty good turn for the Orcs. Haven't had to burn any rerolls. Have had a few successful blocks. And another one here on Trundling. This is one of the non-regen players. Trundling does get knocked down, but holds up quite well. So it's getting down to the point where the Orcs only have 3 players left to move. They've downed quite a few players. And Iggy looks like, yes, he's gonna. No, we're gonna get a potato now. Little surprised by this potato with the frenzy wrestle player in the backfield. I have to imagine we're gonna get possibly a red die block here, although that is a tackle player. So this is one of those where it looks like Iggy's gonna try and press his luck a bit. And an unsuccessful dodge out, and then successfully dodges out, so that will make it a little bit more difficult for Slippy 2 to get in there and get a clean attack on the Goblin. And doesn't look to be enough mobility for the Blitzer to come over and give support. Undead are now going to have the rebuttal. Undead put a lot of pressure on the cage last turn, and it'll be interesting to see if they continue to try and assault the players at this point. Trundling did pay the price, did get knocked down. That's going to take a lot of his mobility away. But the big moment's going to be is Slippy 2 trying to get an attack on this ball. With the wrestle and frenzy, it's really a question of, is there a good way to attack to really make this happen? And the guard piece now in place, that's going to make this a lot easier of an attack. So the plus AG White Foreman with guard coming in, giving the assist, getting 3 dice is going to be a successful attack on the Goblin. Frenzy pulls the Ghoul in. Not a great scatter for either team. Tackle zones 2 apiece on this ball right now. But that being said, we're looking at the end of turn 6. If the Undead can somehow tie this ball up for a few more turns here, it'll get them into a 0-0 tie at halftime with only 1 injury. So against this really tough Orc team, that's been known to lay some pretty devastating hits. So far, it's got to look like a pretty good defensive stand. Orcs rebuttaling, sending in the heavy hitters, sending in a Black Orc right, charging in on that. We do have a Mummy back behind the Black Orc and Blitzer on that ball. So this could be a pretty interesting turn coming up. Black Orcs doing their thing, throwing some solid hits. Slim Pickens has been a little bit defective so far. This drive went real stupid on the opening block, and just really hasn't been able to get any good solid hits in so far. A little disappointing, but I imagine we're going to see that pick up in the near future. And he's going to make an attack on Scrotal Blade. Mighty blow attack on the zombie. Scrotal Blade, unfazed by it, just crumples up onto the ground and just kind of hanging out. Seems like he's kind of used to it. Haven't seen the Astro Granted come into play yet. Neither team really pushing their movement to these Gophers, but I have to imagine the hard surface is keeping them in check a bit. So looks like we're seeing, and we're going to see an attack on a Foreman. High value target here. The frenzy attack does pull the blitzer forward and downs the Foreman. And an unsuccessful attack on the Mummy. That Mummy is quite an issue, and that stand firm kicking in. Uncle Jesse making an attack on the Mummy now. Looks to be successful. Stand firm still there. Eddie goes down. This is going to be a KO, and this is one of those key pieces. The Orcs have been working at Eddie for the last 4 or 5 turns. I mean, ever since they hit the field, he's definitely been a target, and they finally got him down. I don't think they were looking for the KO. They were looking for a bit more. They wanted to try and get him off the field permanently, but if he does not wake up, it will be a massive advantage for them coming in the second half. A little surprised we didn't get a pylon there. Looks like the blitzer showing a little bit of restraint. Oh, and they're repositioning, trying to keep the ghoul in check. They don't want him getting loose and attacking a large group of their players. Slippy 2 is a bit of a matchup problem with wrestle, dodge, the strength up to make him strength 4 and frenzy. He is a ball carrier's worst nightmare. So the Undead not having a lot of options. They did put a ghoul upfield with hopes of getting the ball and possibly getting a touchdown, but so far it's going to be rather difficult. Looks like they may be throwing a block to recall him back in and give some support, because this is a situation where they've had a few stuns and a few down players, and really could use that mobility. And the guard piece comes back, retracting in a bit. Surprised they're not using the guard ability at all. Would have expected them to maybe try and get numbers on a black orc, or maybe one of these blitzers that's stalking this ball at this point. But this is one of those things where they only need one turn to stall these orcs. So orcs do have a reroll, so there's no guarantees here. But and Slippy injures the pylon frenzy mighty blow tackle. Well developed player. Surprisingly, no apothecary on that. So the orcs are going to save the apothecary for a more severe injury, it looks like. And we get a 1-die block by my Scrammy Flammy Mammy. Does free him up for further movement. And looks like they're going to sacrifice the zombie, my Scrammy Flammy Mammy, to the orcs. They've put him in a bunch of tackle zones. Not an original player on their team. Doesn't seem like they have a whole lot of concern for his safety. So we see a successful push by the Black Orc, and that will clear the ball. The Orcs are trying to figure out which player would be best to attempt a pickup or maybe a blitz. They're running into a little bit of issue. Iggy Max is down, and I think the player that they actually want to get the ball may be blocked in by the foreman. So this is going to be a bit difficult. And here comes the blitz that will clear the blitzer. Now they can they can move the player, do a pickup, and if the pickup is successful, it should be just one go for it into the end zone. So we're looking at a 67% pickup, and then an 83% jaunt into the end zone. So it looks like they're not taking any chances at this point. Failed pickup. They do have a reroll, so this play is not over. Successful reroll. They're going for the end zone and a successful touchdown. So the go for it pays off, and the Grunts get their 1-0 lead coming into halftime. They will have to weather the rebuttal of the turn 8 attack from the Mummy Factory, but definitely have to be pleased with their work so far. And the cheerleaders out doing their thing, shaking the pom-poms and pleasing the crowd. So a little something for everyone. The Mummy does not get up. This is gonna take a pivotal piece off the field for this turn 8. Hopefully, for the Mummy Factory's sake, that maybe he'll decide to awaken on the next one. So they will get another chance to wake their player up. But so far, not an easy situation for the Mummy Factory. So we're going to see a tight formation by the Orcs, trying to protect some of their more fragile pieces. A lot of guard on the front line here. They have 3 black Orcs with guard and block, 1 only with block, and then slim pickings with guard and block also. So really difficult to penetrate that line and get advantageous blocks. But the Mummy Factory not without their own set of guard players. The foreman thrower has guard, 1 ghoul has guard, and of course the Mummy has guard. It would have been beneficial for them to get the other guard piece back woken up, but looks like they're going to take a little bit more cautious of a stance on this kickoff, and position hoping for some help by Nuffle to get them in for an extra turn and possibly in a scoring range. Oh, and unfortunately they're not going to get that. They're actually going to get slapped in the face with a blitz now. So it'll be interesting to see how adventurous the Orcs get on this blitz. They can readjust 5 players, but with adjusting play them possibly to open hits. So we'll see if they want to get a free hit on a player or 2 here. Looks like they're going to move the lineman up, and it looks like we're going to get a blitz from the Mighty Blow Tackle Frenzy player possibly here. Not a bad call against the dodge armor value upped player. So that could be a pretty good call on their part, trying to go for pulling a ghoul off the field with a possible oh no, they're gonna shift their defense off to the left. It looks like that with no threat of the 1-turn touchdown. Now they're gonna simply protect the goblin. Here comes the frenzy blitz. Gonna frenzy him towards the inside. Successful on the first attack, and this is a Mighty Blow attack on a AV7. So armor break pretty certain, and it looks like they've got a stun. It'll be interesting to see if they try and pull the lineman up with dirty player to go for the foul or not. Maybe a little bit risky. They don't have any rerolls. There would be a go for it involved, but with a downed ghoul that's already stunned, this is one of those where it's mighty tempting for the Orcs to make a run at this. And they're gonna instead protect the goblin a bit here. So we'll see if the undead can help even the playing field a bit here. So 2 injured Orcs at this point. We do have a KO'd Mummy and an injured. I believe that was an injured skeleton. Mummy unsuccessful at downing the Black Orc, only able to push him back. So we'll see if they're able to do any further damage at this point. Gotta imagine it's gonna be pretty difficult for them. With that front line being so heavy with all these Black Orcs and that, it's It's not an environment that you want to just throw players into, although with the safety of it being turn 8, they can kind of get away with a little bit here. And it looks like the ball carrier is going to attack here. The foreman coming in and blitzing on the tackle player, trying to get a little bit of revenge, it appears. And unsuccessful at the armor brink, but does down the player. So a bit of a moral victory for the undead, but no long-standing damage done. And and the skeleton fails to go for it. 5 movement wasn't quite enough. Does come over. So I'm not sure if they're attempting to get a foul on the player, or if this is just a little bit of posturing. The threat of the foul, maybe. So the undead looking for any advantage that they can find, but none really to be had. Looks like they're going to take the zombie for the long walk. Looks like he's aiming. No, he's not going to go far enough to get the foul. It's going to come up short. And that'll take us into 1-0 at the half. I'll do a quick recap here for anybody that had joined a bit late here. The undead kicked off to the orcs. The orcs refused to cage for the first few turns. They were targeting Eddie the mummy on the left-hand side of the screen. They attacked him several times, piled on, I believe twice, attempted to foul him once. Were unsuccessful at first. We had Trundle and the Ghoul come up into the backfield for a second time after his initial poke in there, and he was ran back out by three orc linemen. And then his second time up, he was able to force Iggy Max the Goblin, who has quickly turned into a bit of a ball carrier and quarterback style player. Forced him into a cage at midfield. The orcs pushed up the field a bit, leaving Iggy Max as a bit of a potato with only one blitzer, as an honor guard for him. We had a ghoul attack and wrestle the ball loose, and then it sat on the pitch for about a turn, and then the orcs were able to, in turn 8, pick it back up and get it into the end zone with one go for it. In that scrum, they were actually able to KO the mummy, and I don't believe I saw the mummy get back up. So the orcs are going to be playing against only one mummy in this half, it looks like. Yes, mummy still KO'd, and then a skeleton KO'd also. The undead were able to, and we get very sunny change of weather. The undead were able to injure 2 players, one of them being the block tackle Mighty Blow Pylon Frenzy Blitzer, and then the other one being the block guard lineman. So 2 fairly talented players out for the orcs. The big story for the undead is their block guard stand firm mummy being out for this half until at least the next kick, where he may be able to muster himself back up. So we're going to see Not Eddie leading the charge again, trying to set the pace for this half, taking down a black orc and enforcing his place on the field. So we're going to see the zombie move up. Looks like they're going to make a little bit of a run at this corner here. Successful attack on the blitzer, and that's Slippy too. He's been quite active in this half. A little surprised. The frenzy kind of puts him in a tough situation. So he's not able to make any easy dodges out. Looks like they're going to bring in a little support from Sextus the Duster, but they are slowly enforcing their territory on this far side. Trundlin moves up into position, and the foreman has collected the ball. He's running forward with vim and vigor. Appears to be unafraid and have somewhat of a game plan. Speaking of game plan, it looks like we're going to have a skeleton foul here. I didn't get the name of that truck, but comes in on the Black Orc and fails. Oh, that is the other Sextai of the Sextai twins, the Bone Collector coming in and looking for a bit of pound of flesh on that Orc. That is a block guard Orc, so all the players in that proximity are now trapped by that guard ability. I don't know how this Orc is able to hold 5 players in place at one time, but he's definitely showing off his talents at this point. So we'll see what the rebuttal is. The Uncle Jesse Black Orc not able to down Dickinson. The rather new white. The old white was fired after failing to answer the bell so many times, being affected by a niggle. Slim Pickens getting a pound of flesh here on the Scrotal Blade, KOing the zombie. So Slim Pickens heating up here in the second half. Scrotal Blade down. And the Orcs are reassessing where they want to go. They've actually freed up a few players for moving now. Unfortunately, 2 of them are Black Orcs, so that is going to limit the amount of mobility they can get. Looks like we're going to get a blitz. They're sick and tired of Slippy 2.
My bad.
Oh, and it looks like a bit of a misclick here.
That sucks, man.
And a stunned Black Orc did not see the Ghoul eyeballing him as he came up. Ghoul swung around quickly and attacked the Black Orc, went for the eyes a bit there, and has left the Black Orc stunned and on the ground. So an unfortunate turn of events for the Orcs. They do have quite a few of the players tied up, but this is one of those where with a large group like this, you never know what the crowd pushes or blocks may be. The Orcs do have the Black Orc in the middle, and I may have spoken a bit too soon. Black Orc's going to go down. The mummy not having it, and this is going to free up a few players for the undead. So we'll see what the follow-up is. Looks like Slippy 2 working on that frenzy again. Throws the block, and then the follow-up block pulls him into the tackle zone of a Black Orc, but successfully downs the blitzer. So freeing up a few more players on that side. But that does looks like Sextai the Bone Collector coming in for a little bit of assistance. Dickinson unable to take down the Black Orc Uncle Jesse. So that's a bit of a failure on Dickinson's approach. Not really showing much better than his predecessor at this point. And looks like
he's still
throwers...
on the pitch. He's already played more turns than Deanna did in I think 4 or 5 games combined. He's doing good.
The foreman rushing forward appears to be feeling pretty good about the positioning. Goes for the throw. Successful catch by the Ghoul Trundlin. Trundlin's eyeballing up the field. Looks to be blitzing towards Iggy Max. Iggy Max is a fairly young player, new to the league. Did not see this one coming. Takes the blitz from Trundlin, the slightly larger player there, taking Iggy Max down. Iggy Max does not appear to be too fazed by it, but this does create a bit of a potato effect at this point.
I am so sorry.
And here comes the foul on Iggy Max, the threatening player for the touchdown. The stomp comes down, unsuccessful. Iggy Max showing great amounts of heart, taking the stomp from the Duster. One of the Sextai coming through with a vicious foul on the Goblin, and the Goblin is unfazed. So that will actually allow a little bit of protection for Trundlin, and it looks like the other Ghoul will come over to create a bit of a sloppy hook cage, maybe. So the Orcs are rebounding from that. They do have a few players with decent movement that could get over into that area, and then they do have the Goblin down in that area too. So this touchdown is far from guaranteed, but the mobility of the Ghouls definitely being showcased here. Able to move the ball completely up the field with just one pass from the foreman. The Air Undead offense definitely getting showcased here. So the Uncle Jesse still having issues getting successful blocks. Goes for the extra training. The Orcs are very upset with Slippy 2's ability to come in and muscle in on their territory. That 4 strength can be quite a bit annoying, and then also with having that dodge and the mobility, Slippy 2 has been a bit of a nightmare for the Orc team so far. And it looks like they're going to throw more Orcs into the meat grinder here, trying to assert their power over the scrum of players. Iggy Max is up and assessing the situation, looking around. When he went down the first time, there was just one ghoul. Now all of a sudden he gets back up and realizes he's surrounded by ghouls, and the skeleton that followed him is staring at him, kind of giggling through these strange optical sunglass tanning booth things. Definitely not a comfortable situation for Iggy, but help is on the way. So it looks like we are going to get the blitz coming in, and they're going to try and take the corner off this. This is a 1-die attack, and going to be a follow-up and red die due to, I believe, one of the ghouls in the area does have guard, and that is going to take down the player. So a bit of a numbers disadvantage down at that end of the field. We'll see what the rebuttal for the undead's going to be. So, undead looking to feed the mummies. One of their battle cries in the farm has been "Feed the mummy, feed the mummy, feed the mummy," and they're going to stick with that. It's a short feeding season due to Eddie being off on the sidelines, still recovering from a KO. But definitely a good situation so far for the undead, able to get the ball up the field in 2 turns and looking at a good possibility for a touchdown here. So they're assessing the scrum at midfield, looking for potential blocks. And Iggy Max is stunned. Did not see who went to attack him. Oh, it looks like the ball carrier actually attacked him, going with the block piece, and Trundlin in for the touchdown. And here is a bit of an issue that we didn't expect. Oh, and there it is. Yeah, the cameraman's down. Camera's still on the tripod, but we've had an increasing issue with these cameramen actually getting eaten and/or attacked. The ones that die are sometimes regarded as the fortunate ones, because the ones that limp away from a ghoul attack like that can really live in quite a bit of pain and horror for the rest of their life. Rarely do you see them actually come back to the end zones and sidelines to film another game. Okay, so Eddie still refusing to rejoin the.
This is one hideous Bloodweiser babe they sent me. I want my money back.
Well, and this may be a bit of an issue. The mummies generally don't like the traditionally good-looking Bloodweiser babes. They actually are a bit distracting for the mummies. They don't know really how to take the fleshy approach of a live human. Much like apothecaries, you don't see apothecaries on the undead teams because it's not something normal for these undead teams to see. So generally, you'll see like Igor or Igor, depending on how you're enunciating them. But you'll see him in effect sometimes. But other than that,
they need to send me some Abbies. That's what they really need to send me. Some Abby normals.
Abby normals.
Yeah.
You've had an issue with not getting the appropriate Abbies.
I think that's the issue here.
The Mummy Eddie has been a bit of a disappointment so far, getting KO'd in the first half and then failing to wake up two kickoffs in a row. So unfortunate for the undead, but a pretty positive turn of offense for the Orc team here, allowing them to get back to even numbers. So we should have a 10-on-10. I'm not going to bore anybody with me counting like I normally would, but my memory serves me that both teams came in looking at fairly full health. So we'll see what what transpires in this next kickoff. Kick a fairly centered kick, giving Iggy Max a good look at the ball. He has been taking ball handling duty after a recent death to the regular thrower. A little bit short on money. They had to go with a goblin to replace him, but he has been a definite gem in the rough here so far, with coming up with a brilliant pass last week and pretty good handling skills so far this week. So we're going to see a successful attack by Uncle Jesse, finally able to get away from the Slippy 2. Has had a bit more success with attacking skeletons and zombies. So the line of scrimmage attack so far been successful. The Grunts sizing up their opponent, making a few adjustments, putting a Black Orc up, and that's Break T, and he has been pretty active. I'm gonna pretend like I did not see that. Test Orc coming up a little bit shaky, but the extra training kicking in, and he's able to lay a successful hit on Sextus the Duster. So a stunned Sexti. The other Sexti is getting sized up for a potential attack on the right-hand side. So we could see both Sexti down and out in the opening turn here. So no reroll in hand. Ball still loose. Iggy's going to have to come up big on this one. And we're going to see a blitzer go upfield. Takes a wide stance up there. Looks like they're gonna make the ghouls adjust and try and catch the blitzer there. Slim Pickens also upfield quite a ways. Don't normally see him so well behaved and mobile. And Seston was asking for an update on Iggy. Iggy is having a pretty good game so far, but comes up a little bit butterfingered on the pickup this time. Iggy did do all the ball handling on the initial drive, and was able to get up the field. He actually held the ball off on the right sideline for one turn. A ghoul forced him into a bit of a cage. He potatoed and was attacked by a strength frenzy ghoul, which took the ball out of his hands. And then they required a blitzer to finish the job in turn 8. But so far, Iggy's been having a fairly good game. We haven't seen goblins really get this much attention. So this is one of those where Iggy's definitely been doing his job and coming out pretty good, looking like a player that may have a fairly long future for this team. So we're gonna get another blitz by the and they're gonna attack the Black Orc, and it's gonna be successful. So we're seeing Slippy 2 take on Black Orcs now, pops a hole in this sideline screen of the Orcs, and he's off creating a bit of an issue now. So he moves up a ways and is going to actually mark a frenzy blitzer. So Slippy 2 not showing any fear in this situation, and the other ghoul coming up, and we're seeing Trundling come up again and stick his nose in the business. He is now marking Iggy Max. The mobility of these ghouls is sometimes is overlooked, and this is going to create an interesting turn for the for our Orcs now. Most of the Black Orcs are marked up except for the Black Orc that just moved over to create some assistance for Iggy. But the problem that they're going to face is that if anything goes wrong, they do have two ghouls in the backfield, and these ghouls are not going to go away nicely. So Trundling getting attacked by the lineman, that's going to put him down. They're going to require that Iggy Max recovers this ball and finds a safe place to hide it for at least a turn, because the pressure has definitely been ratcheted up by the undead. So scanning the field quick here. Slim Pickens does have a clean hit. Some of the Black Orcs have clean hits. The Mummy is still creating a bit of an issue in his position. Only having the one Mummy, they have done a pretty good job of keeping Eddie kind of centered a little bit more. The previous drive, we did see both mummies kind of split apart and take each sideline. Where now not Eddie has to do a little bit more of a central location to try and tie up some of these players and let his slow movement not become an issue. Uncle Jesse again laying hits on my Scrammy Flammy Mammy. This seems to be one of those where Uncle Jesse hasn't been capable of taking on block players, but has had a pretty good go of these skeletons and zombies. So as long as he can keep picking on somebody smaller than him, he's definitely come out looking pretty good. And Dickinson taking a successful attack from the Black Orc. Looks to be a bit of an armor break. He's down in his polka dot orange and black uniform. Just kind of nestled up on the Astro Granite. Appears to be stunned. He's face down and not moving a whole lot. Black Orc standing over him victoriously. Iggy Max not going to fail the second attempt. Collects the ball, scans the sidelines, looking for an order from the coach. Coach kind of waving him around, giving him a bit of hand signals. Iggy doesn't seem quite sure on what they're looking for. Scampers into the shadow of a Black Orc and looks like he's settled in. Like this may be where he's gonna ride out this next turn. So we see a dodge from the blitzer. Looks like they're trying to change field a bit here, moving back left, trying to make the ghouls and the passer chase the target around a bit. So the ghoul does respawn, jumps back in the tackle zone, and we'll see if the foreman follows suit or not. No, it looks like they're going to bring the skeleton over to try and pin in the blitzer again, and maybe Sextai the Duster may be a little bit of a sacrifice towards Break T with trying to lure him away from the white and maybe get the white safe to a little bit better location where his block and mobility may be useful. So we are going to see the foreman coming in. The Mummy Factory showing a lot of respect to the blitzer upfield, using two players to pin them in. That may help prevent them from having to deal with a one-die block and keeping them in. But players elsewhere on the field may pay the price. So Iggy's actually in a fairly safe spot, pinned in between two Black Orcs. One of the Black Orcs does have guard, the other one does not, but keeping those tackle zones in the area is going to make this a bit more difficult. Will still be a 2-dice block if they can get in there, and they fail to dodge out. Not something we see these ghouls do a lot, but does get a double one and will not get free for that blitz. So Iggy survives to carry the ball another day, and this is starting to look a little bit better for the New Orcland Grunts. Grunts do have even players at this point, I believe. So we're looking at a pretty even battle. There was one white left on the deck, and the Black Orc strength is really going to start coming out and being an issue, with them both having a troll on the field and all four Black Orcs, and the undead only having the one mummy. Oh, and the Duster gets KO'd. The sacrificial skeleton does his job and finds himself on the sideline, knocked out next to Eddie Mummy, and that does give the Orcs a one-man advantage at this point. So looks like the Orcs are still not looking to cage. It'll be interesting to see where they hide Iggy this next turn. They've done a great job so far of screening, keeping contact, and that kind of stuff. And I have to give them credit. They've done a great job of keeping Iggy away from these high mobility ghouls, especially the Frenzy Ghoul. The Frenzy Ghoul was only able to hunt him down once, and that was when Iggy lost the ball in the previous drive. So it looks like they're going to target that. The right sideline here. They've set up a fairly effective screen at this point, And Iggy looks like he's eyeballing a scamper behind the right side now. That they moved the blitzer to the left-hand side of the offense, possibly to draw the deep safety and all the attention away. So Iggy's now got a couple of options that he can go with. Iggy assessing the field again, looking to the sideline for his coach's guidance. Coach says it's drawn up perfectly. Get over there. And Iggy scampers off into the sideline again. Iggy is not one that is afraid of being pinned on a sideline. This is the second time we've seen him seek safety on the sideline of the pitch. I think there may be a sidestep in Iggy's future with the way that he likes to hug sidelines. Undead looking to rebound from this. If they can somehow stall this scoring drive out for another few turns, they will get a draw. But right now, it looks like the Grunts have really placed them in a good situation to get a touchdown here and possibly ratchet a win against the Undead. So we're seeing Trundling come up and create a bit of an assist. And we're going to get a two-die block on... oh, no. Gorklor is down, and this was a blitz, and this will open up the ability to pin the Goblin against the sideline. And he definitely goes for that. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to bring more players over to assist or if the Orcs are going to be able to rebuttal. But this is a pretty solid turn from the Undead so far, able to get pressure back on that ball and create a bit of a headache for the Orcs. So we are seeing a few extra blocks. The white dodge fails. I believe he was going to try and put an extra defensive safety upfield. So they have one on the ball, one in the upfield position. So the Undead trying to get an advantage wherever they can, putting pressure on the ball in that. So we'll see if Slim Pickens and the Black Orcs can free up some players to clear this tackle zone from Iggy, and then also find a place to stash him for a turn, maybe allow him to catch his breath. So Slim Pickens, pretty effective so far. Really rebounded from the bonehead in the first attack, but this is one of those where we're gonna get a dodge effective here. Black Orc not able to down the ghoul, but now we're seeing other issues. The one mummy they do have, not Eddie, is creating a bit of issues in that midfield, locking up three players. It would take a little bit of help to get two die, but this may be to the point where they need to take a bit of a risk. Their Black Orc also on the opposite side of the field is tied up. This is one of those situations where Iggy may have to take a bit of a potato maneuver. And he does break up field. It's not a very safe spot, but he does have the Troll giving him moral support. And this is where not Eddie's dodge ability, something that you wouldn't expect to see on a mummy, does come into play. The dodge ability allowing the mummy to stay on his feet and actually pushes him into another tackle zone, making it a little bit more difficult for the Testorcles to get his attack on the ghoul. So this is going to be a bit of an issue that it looks like the foreman may be called upon to reclaim this ball on a blitz. And the New Orcland Grunts, they're finishing up this turn 14. Will only have 2 turns to score, so recollecting the ball will be a big issue for them. If anything should fail, they only have the one reroll left to retry things. So this is looking like a great turn for the Undead, and we're going to see if they can capitalize on that last turn. So it looks like they're going to feed the mummy first, clearing some tackle zones. No follow-up on this, but this does free up a ghoul to move upfield, or possibly they could be freeing up. Oh, and a failed dodge out. This is a second double one, or I believe this one was a 1-2. So that's a second dodge out fail for that ghoul, and this does free up the goblin to make a bit of a run upfield. So we're going to see a successful blitz taking down the ghoul, and this is going to move Iggy upfield with a little bit of help, a little bit of support. Got a little bit of cheering, a little bit of a cheering crowd now for him. Now, the armchair quarterbacks are asking about the why the white didn't just blitz in and do
because
the
I
two-die
could have
with.
picked it up at the quarterback and then thrown it up to Trundle.
So there you go. But Iggy is going to scamper up the field using all 6 mobility. That's going to put him in a fairly safe position. It's gonna leave a few options for the undead, but it's going to be rather difficult to get a good clean hit on the goblin now, and it's looking like after a pretty flashy debut for Iggy, he may end up being the hero in this one. So a bit of a different role for the goblin. Not a lot of goblins get a whole lot of credit in the league. They normally get seen as a bit of an afterthought, but it looks like Iggy Max in back-to-back games making a pretty big impact, and it looks like the push is gonna allow the white to continue standing, but I believe that puts him to a rather difficult dodge to get to the ball. So that looks like it's gonna finish out the chances to stop this scoring drive, and it's looking like the New Orcland Grunts are gonna get a 2-1 victory on the Mummy Factory. So Mummy Factory assessing what their movement and options are at this point. And feeding the mummy in effect. So it looks like they're gonna be able to get a second attack in the area, but doesn't look like they have a whole lot of options to stop this score. And they use the go for it to try to get a tackle zone on, and successfully do. Unfortunately for them, the full mobility only allowed them the tackle zone and did not open them up to actually attack the player. So using their blitz on a Black Orc upfield, freeing a ghoul. Normally you would expect the ghoul to be able to dodge away, but we have seen a bit of an issue with the ghouls dodging in this game. So blitz may have been a pretty good call. We're going to see a few more blocks thrown out. Armor break on the blitzer with a follow-up from the White Dickinson. Comes up with a stun. And it looks like we're down to just the ghoul if the ghoul decides to venture off into some different position. Doesn't appear like he can really do anything but try and get himself hurt. I believe that's gonna, the ghoul's gonna run off to safety, pinch off a nice hot loaf on the New Orcland Grunts logo. Trundlin is done with this game and seems to be happy with just taking care of a little bit of number 2 on the logo here on the smoldering hot Astro Granted. So we're gonna see a successful attack on the foreman, and that's gonna clear Iggy Max for a turn 16 touchdown for the New Orcland Grunts. 2-1 victory here.
Yeah, good game, man.
So Iggy scampers off, and the the crowd favorite touchdown celebration begins right now. Goblin touchdown. Everyone in the crowd's happy. Happiest person here is going to be Iggy getting his first touchdown in the MML, able to get a victory for the New Orcland Grunts and solidifying him as a fan favorite.
That was pretty nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie.
Right.
Iggy being the natural choice for MVP ends up getting a level. Not Eddie being the mummy that stayed on the field the entire game, unlike Eddie laying in the KO box. Not Eddie stays the entire game on the field.
Bloodweiser sent over. He wasn't pleased by it. I don't know what it takes to please him, but he wasn't pleased.
Not Eddie getting another level, making him a level 5 mummy. So it'll be exciting to see what other talents he may come up with for the Week 7 game. But we're looking at Grunts, 16 armor breaks, Mummy Factory 8. And moving over to statistics on my side. New Orcland Grunts, 56% ball possession, 18% for the Mummy Factory. The big tail of the tape is going to be blocks. 53 blocks for the Grunts, only 39 for the Mummy Factory, and I think a key component of that was the Mummy going down early and staying out for the entire game. We'll shoot a few questions. We'll shoot a few questions over to Preach MJ. Start with him. How did you feel about the injuries early? You did have 2 injuries. You didn't use the apothecary. Do you regret not using it, or was it just one of those where you're trying to protect other players?
We were trying to protect other players. I mean, I'd rather have miss next game or no particular. I forget. I think one was miss next game, and one of them was he's just fine.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to save it because I can't lose players. I need the cash, and if you watched, I re-rolled a 2 into a 1 on the winnings, so that was great. But
yeah.
But I needed we needed the players, so I needed to save that APO. Should we need it later? It was a gamble.
Okay.
It worked out, but yeah.
Yeah. Next question is Iggy Max has been doing a lot of ball handling so far. He's been fairly adventurous, looking for open space. Hasn't been going into cages, that kind of stuff. Last week we saw him making throws. This week we've seen him doing quite a bit of scampering around, trying to find a cage, but not going to it immediately. It looks like you're transitioning from the traditional orc offense, where caging and that, and you're trying to still not do that without having a natural passer. How comfortable and/or nerve-wracking is it, kind of being in this in-between territory with an orc offense?
It's not good for my blood pressure, that's for sure. But I think when people now Rez, he's rare in that he's seen my non-orc offense probably more than anybody. So I think he kind of expected, or it shouldn't have shocked him at all.
No, that's why I didn't take
yeah.
the wizard. Although I mean, I didn't use the bribe. I should have gone with the wizard. I could have hit the cage in the middle.
Right. Yeah. The one time I've actually caged this season.
The one time, right?
But you'll notice I didn't stay there very long. So to answer the question,
I liked how you were moving Iggy.
Yeah, he's just I don't like the cage. It doesn't work for me. I'm an orc coach, and I shouldn't say that, but we probably play more elf ball as orcs than orcs. So I like it. It gives me a little more versatility. Of course, now everybody's going to figure out that's my offense, but I suck anyway, so it's not gonna matter too much. But yeah, we like it. It gives us a little more versatility. Iggy, he's not a passer, he's not a runner. I don't really know what he is, but he's trying to fill pretty much all the roles. He is a playmaker. So
I think the word that you're looking for is he's a star.
He's a star. He's a star.
But yeah, he's a bit of everything and a lot of nothing, and it's just a joy seeing him out there. You can just see by the way that he runs around and jumps that he's out there enjoying the game. He brings a childlike innocence to it, I feel, and it's really one of those where it's fun seeing a player like that in the MML, the unlikely hero of sorts.
Right.
But definitely a good victory for you. I felt it was pretty admirable, fighting back from a few players down. A little bit of luck with the mummy staying out, but you took advantage of it and picked your spots. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. And good game, Raz. Good game.
Yeah, good game, man. Seriously, that was it was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll go over to Rez quick and ask him a few quick questions. Were you happy with your offense? I noticed that you got your passing attack in. The one touchdown you did get looked really good. It was one of those where I think your offense was firing and looking what I think you view it as a little bit more than the traditional caging style that the Orcland Grunts have moved away from. Could you just kind of speak about your offense, if you're happy with it or if it was a little bit shaky for you?
I'm happy with it. It was hard to figure it out a little bit in the beginning of the season, but I feel like the offense has two gears, which is like 2-turn touchdown and like 7-turn touchdown. And with being down 1-0, I could have tried to grind it out a little, being only one mummy on the field. The grind didn't sound like a great idea. And I wanted to play for the win, so I went for the quick score, and that went pretty smooth, even with the -1 to the pass.
Well, and you said it pretty clearly there. You were playing for the win, and I think that contributed to the failed dodge on the ghoul and the blitz, because
I just
it was
wanted
one of
to
those
dispute
where
the one thing. I mean, Spawn said it was 3 dodges. It was only 1 dodge. It was only a 1 3+ dodge with the built-in reroll for Slippy to get the blitz on Iggy. So I figured it was.
And I think that may have actually taken away one of the frenzies or something like that, because I think it was a bit of a longer way around for that.
No,
But,
it was 5 movement. There was a seam right in between Slim and wherever the line of scrimmage was.
Okay. But yeah, that was one of those where I think there were two trains of thought at that point. If you're playing for a draw, you go for the safe attack on the goblin with the guy that's immediately there. If you're going for the win and the 3 points, then taking the blitz from somewhere else and leaving the thrower open to collect and throw. So it was one of those where I think it's a difficult position. I think if you would have known that dodge would have failed, you would have went the opposite route. But if that dodge works, everyone's looking at it like the second coming of the blitzkriegers. Like, this guy just grabs the ball and takes it up the field every turn. Like, you're never safe. So I think it was a calculated risk. It failed on you this time, but I think keeping that style in mind, we have seen the success of a blitzkriegers or teams that are willing to push the dice a little bit more. When the dice hit you in the right way, everything looks brilliant, and it just decimates your opponent. So I give you credit for taking that risk.
Is the point in the season. I mean, it will help, but if I could get the win, I was still in playoff contention. The loss knocks me out of playoff contention.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah.
Hey, you said race to the bottom at the beginning of the season. I was trying to help you out.
I was lying. Yeah, it was a good game.
The last 2 weeks of the season, there's a lot of dashed hopes and victories covered in gravy for the people that end up locking up a bowl or a playoff position. So it's a difficult time. Everybody's scratching for the last few points and trying to jostle for position, but it was a great game. It was a lot of fun to watch. Two mediocre coaches, because I don't think either one wants to get talked up too much. But no. A great show. But both you guys put on some pretty good entertainment. I think I saw viewers up to almost 20 at points. So something interesting must have been going on.
I don't know what that was, but yeah.
I think people
they were just tuning in
with the ball.
They were just tuning in for Iggy and Slippy. That was all.
Pretty much, yeah.
But thanks I thank you both for letting me call it. It's always a joy.
Thank you for doing it.
I mean,
nice job, Ed.
What else am I going to be doing on a Monday night?
Right. Hey, did you guys see the crew tied the Morning Stars?
Oh, really?
Wow, that's exciting.
That might give the Pirates a chance to take first place.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit interesting.
Yeah, too bad I couldn't win.
Sorry.
I have to say that's one of those where I think it's great for the Morning Stars to get a tie against a team, and maybe get a little respect going back their way. I don't think they get quite the recognition that I feel they should.
Me neither.
Does that give the Grunts a shot at the playoffs?
Everybody would have to lose. We'd have to win out. I don't think so. I don't think so, because we've already beat the Pirates. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Grunts beat Skaven. I'm still kind of trying to get over that.
Right. Yeah. High Elves are our new problem.
Well, High Elves are the league's problem, honestly.
Right. I mean, they really are.
I don't think they're going to be a problem for too long. I've heard grumblings, rumblings, and rumors going around that there might be a High Elf evacuation. That they might be a bit intimidated by the investigations and looking into particular games and that. So,
Whiskey's in the chat screaming about don't jinx him. Oh, I hope that you just lose out. I can't wait for Munch to kill himself on a failed dodge.
So looks like the Princes beat the Norse Leap. So
yes, they did.
That's pretty big news there too.
Wow, that's an upset.
That keeps the Princes in the playoff run and damages Norse Leap's stranglehold on that division. I believe they were top of their division. So
they were. Well, they probably still are, but not by much.
Yeah, that puts them at top, but it opens up the door for the human beings, and it keeps the Princes in the run. With a win, Reptile Dysfunction would be tied for the lead then. So. Yeah, that definitely does open it up. Glendale Human Beings could take over first with a win, and Reptile Dysfunction could jump right back up in the mix with a win for themselves. So, yeah, that race is definitely open right now too.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting rest of the week and an interesting week 7, with just the games that we've seen scores from tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those where I think we're looking at a good finale for this season. I'm gonna make an attempt again this season to try and figure out what the clinch scenarios are for Week 7, but I think this one's going to be an absolute nightmare. So there's going to be a disclaimer at the bottom that says I was drunk and stupid when coming up with these things. So if anything's completely wrong,
now in fairness, that disclaimer is always there, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I try and put that with pretty much 90% of everything I do because I'm wrong a lot, which makes me the perfect boyfriend. So anyone with attractive female friends out there, just
you know where to send them.
Right. Yeah, just send them my way. I'm good at saying I'm sorry. You're right.
That's how you open the conversation the first time you meet them.
Are you kidding me? I just go. You look like you could use a drink. I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah. It's the ultimate pickup line.
Just walk through the bar just saying, I'm sorry. Just look them deep in the eyes and say, hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If there's enough sadness in your eyes, it might take you home. It's called Housebroke. They love it.
Do we have any other games on tonight?
I don't know. I was going to try and look for that. I thought we had a little bit later game coming up, but I can't recall what it was. I don't know if the Pirates were making a run or if one of the Norse teams were, but I know there was we just had like a back-to-back-to-back block going right here, so it'll be interesting to see. We've actually had 4 games so far, so it'd be nice if there was one kicking off at about 9 o'clock, but I don't know.
Well, I'm going to stop this broadcast. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks Rez for the exciting game, and thanks Shots for announcing.
No problem. It was good fun.
Oh yeah.